Roaming is a Los Angeles-based premium lifestyle brand that is motivated by nature. Roaming features high-quality, earth-friendly dog products made from renewable and natural materials like their bio-based and 100% compostable biodegradable dog poop bags. These bags really are awesome. I've been using their bags for a few months now, and I love the durability, the way they feel, and the fact that they are good for the earth. They also have a special discount for our listeners. Use code VermontDog to get 20% off your first purchase, including 20% off the first 3 orders if you sign up for one of their poop bag subscriptions. They also have some beautiful leather leashes made right here in the USA. You can check them out at roaming.com. That's ROMNG.com.
Time again for Talking Dogs with Ian Grant, owner of Vermont Dog Boarding and Behavior, VFW Drive Hyde Park. It's the show that delves into the training, socializing, behavior, nutrition, and wellness of your dog. And brought to you by Guy's Farm and Yard with locations in Morrisville, Montpelier, Williston, and St. Albans. And we're back with the trainer, Ian Grant, and this week it's called demand barking. So now what are we categorizing the way they bark now? Every bark has a specific reason why they're doing it?
Actually, in actuality, it does. And my plan is to create a video series, if you will, for barking, because there is a purpose to all of it. And I recently put up a video of a dog doing some demand barking during one of my lessons, and I think it hit 100,000 views because people couldn't believe what it was, and then you get the comments of, "Oh yeah, my dog does that too," and it's so it's a popular category amongst the dog training world.
So what is demand barking?
This is if I painted a picture here of, as I always do with you and Tika.
Yes, and Tika's always the prime example.
Yes. Let's say you're sitting down, you're watching TV, and maybe she brings over a toy and she just looks at you and she just starts barking. So we know that there's something playful. She wants something from you. She wants you to get up and probably play with her.
Right.
That's an example. Sometimes if it's feeding time is 5 o'clock and it's 5:05 and she comes over and she starts barking at you, it's time to be fed. Feed me.
She does know the feeding time, but she doesn't bark though. But at any rate,
yeah. So these are examples of this demand barking. Now it is demand barking, especially when we accommodate them. And we listen to them and do what they ask of us.
You mean we're not supposed to?
That's kind of a very gray area, because I always say if your dog is everything you want it to be, have at it. Go ahead and do whatever you want.
Okay.
As long as it's respectful.
Do whatever it wants?
And do whatever the dog wants. However, if you're having some issues at home, some behavioral issues or behaviors that you are, really unwanted by you, then these are one of those things that we really have to get a hold of, because when it comes down to it, this is decision making, and this is a decision that the dog is making that doesn't really benefit us. And this is when we have to kind of step up and go, all right, am I just accommodating my dog just by doing whatever it wants, or do I need to change things around a little bit?
Does it depend on what it's demanding?
Well, it certainly would have value to it. Yeah.
Like if it wanted to go out, I guess, to do its business, I guess you better listen to it at this particular point.
That's one of those situations, absolutely, because we don't want to ignore that.
We don't want to ignore that one.
Not at all, especially if we have a younger dog. We're going to praise that. Hey, all right, that's what I'm looking for. You need to go out and do your business. That's fantastic. But if you're going to bark at me for playing or, feeding time, I'm honestly just probably going to wait it out until the barking goes away, and then I'll get up. But we also have to look at this and make sure that we're providing everything to the dog that we're supposed to be, with regular exercise and structure and that kind of stuff. But there's some dogs that I know will go get the leash, bring it to their owner, and bark at their owner.
Wow.
Like it's time to go for a walk.
Wow.
Walk me.
Yeah.
So there is a pretty good percentage of dogs that have this demand barking behavior that we want to get a hold of.
So we really got to be consistent with it too, right? So, but what about this situation? So this younger dog is barking to go out. It's okay. So you let him go out. So now they come back and they demand bark for food now. So Isn't that going to be confusing the dog if you're giving him one time and you're not the other time?
Well, that's one of those situations where, especially with a young dog, you make sure that the dog has gone to the bathroom, everything has been done, and now when the dog demand barks, now we know it's not for going outside.
Right.
Now we can wait this out and let it pass. So in the beginning, I'm certainly not going to depend on the dog to bark at me every time that needs to go outside. I would like to control that a little bit more of...
Like being observant on when they're going to the door or something like that.
Yeah, going to sniff around the door, sniffing the floor, kind of hanging out next to
Sniffing your leg.
Yeah. Like Gemma will not... She will go to the back door, but she won't make a peep. She just walks over and she just stands there. May just kind of picks up her paw and just ever so lightly taps on the door like, I got to go out.
Yeah.
And then I get Fitz who just like, he almost hurls himself against the door. He's not so gentle with those kind of things.
Right.
But we have to pay attention to what the dogs are doing for sure.
Right. So demand barking, so as compared to other types of barking, so I guess we could actually have an entire barking series.
Yeah, and a lot of times too with this type of bark, you'll get a dog that barks at you, and there's probably a lot of movement with them too. So the bark maybe a step forward, bark step backward. They're trying to get you to move.
Right.
And they're trying to find how I have to move to get you to move. It's this whole communication.
But remember one thing. Dogs always bark for a reason.
They do. Oh, my gosh, they do.
That's a whole nother show. Back with our question from the doggy bag in just a moment here on Talking Dogs.
Are you looking for gear that can keep up with your active and adventurous dog? Look no further than Synology Warehouse. They specialize in equipping the modern canine with distinguished, overbuilt gear that's built to last from home to horizon. From premium collars and leashes to rugged outdoor gear, they have everything you need to keep your dog comfortable and safe no matter where your adventures take you. I've been using their Biothane slip leashes for months now and I love them. They have a nice feel, a good grip, and they clean very easily. Use coupon code Vermont to receive 10% off your purchase. Head over to Synology Warehouse on Etsy today and give your dog the gear they deserve. Synology Warehouse, overbuilt gear that's built to last from home to horizon.
Back to Talking Dogs with Ian Grant from Vermont Dog Boarding and Behavior, VFW Drive Hyde Park. Find out more about his facility and programs and catch his podcasts by going to his website, VermontDogBoardingandBehavior.com. And our question this morning, Ian, is how do I get my puppy to stop pulling on the leash? Oh, that's a great question. And, of course, that's something you got to get a hold of early, too, don't you?
Well, here's the thing with this, too, because I would like to specify kind of age, when it comes to puppies. I don't do much with leash walking with puppies that are we normally get them around 8 weeks, the 2 months to 4 or 5 months. I don't do a lot of
Too
leash.
early?
Yeah, I'd rather play with the dog.
Yeah.
I'd rather, start teaching how to let go of something, teaching a calm sit before I throw, teaching a stay, teaching around the house stuff. And I'd rather be interactive with them that way. We're trying to put a leash on a dog that is 2 months old and expect this thing to be walking perfectly next to us, I think is a lot to ask. Yeah. And they're only young once. I want to enjoy that time as a puppy. And there's, when it comes to play, it's just a fun time to share with our puppy too.
Yeah. And so is there a specific time or a specific age in which you start considering putting the leash on and starting to work on the leash?
Usually for me, once the dog gets into that 5 months, 6 months at the latest, really like the 5 months, especially because around that 5 to 7 month period is when dogs start to explore a little bit more. They're comfortable in their surroundings now. It's been a few months and now they're starting to venture out a little bit. And that's where I really like to define boundaries and what the walk is going to be like. And so those are the first times where I really start to move with the dog and get out a little bit more, expose them a little bit more. They've had their shots. It's another thing to consider too, and get out and socialize them. So that's the time to kind of show them the world, if you will.
Right. But not to say that you shouldn't be working with the puppy on other things when they're younger. I mean, maybe not the leash, but there are other things that you got to get started on right away, though.
Yeah. I mean, it can be the crating stuff. It can, the consistency, feeding, play, all that kind of stuff. There's plenty to do.
Yeah. So even though we're saying don't work on the leash so early, does not mean you're not working with your dog on other things.
Exactly.
Because Don't want to let that get away.
Yep.
If you have a question for Ian, you can email him directly to info@vermontdogboardingandbehavior.com. Next week, dogs being outside unsupervised. From demand barking to dogs outside unsupervised. We are going on the wild side these shows.
Yes. We are, and this happens quite a bit, and we'll talk about some of the things that can result from this, too.
On Talking Dogs with Ian Grant, brought to you by Guy's Farm and Yard with locations in Morrisville, Montpelier, Williston, and St. Albans. And for the trainer Ian Grant, I'm Roland DeJoy, and we are Talking Dogs.